Cool. So today's training, we are talking about why and how to calorie cycle for easy and sustainable fat loss. This training is going to apply to everybody, but there are some key steps in here that are only going to apply to those who are in a fat loss phase. Whenever I mention phase, I'm talking about you technically should be periodizing your nutrition and your training. So the four main phases that you're going to be in when it comes to your training and nutrition is not in this particular order, but just in general, a fat loss phase, a metabolism repairing phase, a maintenance phase, and a bulking phase or like skill improvement phase, things like that. But in general, there's going to be one tip that's going to apply to everybody, and the rest is just going to apply to those who are in fat loss phases. So calorie cycling is for everyone in all phases. So let's go over the definition of calorie cycling, what calorie cycling is. And that is, it's basically adjusting your calories higher or lower depending on your activity levels, your biometrics. What I mean by biometrics are your sleep, energy, libidos, hormones, appetite. Those are the main ones that come to mind, but I think there are a couple more. I think there are two more. But in general, it's like how you're feeling physiologically. So it's going to, calorie cycling is going to depend on your biometrics or your preferences, like what can you personally adhere to, things like that. And the reason why you would do calorie cycling is to minimize metabolic damage. So we know that anytime that you diet, even if you do it perfectly healthily, there's going to be at least a small degree of metabolic adaptation, meaning your metabolism has slowed down. So calorie cycling in the context of a diet does not completely, eradicate metabolic damage, but it does help to minimize it. It also helps to preserve lean muscle mass, boost your biometrics, like mood, sleep, energy, libido, hormones, all those things I mentioned, and it promotes sustainability within your nutrition. So this tip that I'm going to cover, this one's going to apply to everybody in all phases. So fat loss, maintenance phase, bulking phase, and metabolic restoration phases. And how you're going to want to implement calorie cycling in this sense is you're going to consume extra calories on your official workout days. So the distinction that I want to make there is, let's say that you don't typically go on, casual walks with your friends, but let's say you decide to on Sunday, it's your day off, you walk for like an hour, a casual walk. I would not add extra calories for something like that. It has to be an official workout day, meaning like for example, how I teach you guys to train, which is lifting weights, but more specifically lifting intensely, which is the most effective and efficient way of training. So on those days, on your official workout days, you're going to consume an extra 100 to 200 extra calories for about an hour activity. If you're training effectively, like I teach, you shouldn't be exercising more than an hour. So I'm not going to go into like more exercise time because I don't recommend that in the first place. But in general, an extra 100 to 200 extra calories. What I will do for my beginner clients is I will start small. I'll give them 100 extra calories on their workout days. And the reason why is because they do not yet know how to train to failure. Their intensity is very low because remember, learning to train to failure, i.e. prioritizing intensity, takes time for everybody to learn. So and as such, they're also not burning as many calories during their workouts. So that's why I only give them 100 extra calories. The more advanced you become in your training or in my program, the more calories I give you on your workout days. For example, I consume 200 extra calories on my workout days. Like let's say my maintenance calories are 2,000. I'll eat 2,000 calories on my rest days, the days that I'm not working out, but on my workout days, I will consume 2,200 calories. Now let's get into why you want to have extra calories on your workout days. And the reason is because with the way that we train, training to failure, always trying to achieve a PR, because that's a form of progressive overload, getting stronger by either doing more weight or more reps for the same amount of weight. That is the goal. So our goal in our focus, I should say, in our training is performance. We want to perform our best. And in order to perform your best, you're going to need fuel, which to your body are calories, or is calories. So that's the reason why. Think of it like, so I would presume not many of you are super familiar with strongman competitors or powerlifters. Some of you may be. And if you are, that's awesome. But if you ever go to a gym or you see videos on social media of strongman competitors or powerlifters, you will frequently see them eating between their sets. And that's because they are trying to fuel themselves so that they perform their best. Also think of it like, I've heard of people who climb Mount Everest. They will take like sticks of butter with them and eat as they're going along. And again, it all boils down to the reason why they're doing that is because they want to perform their best. And this is another reason why I do not recommend fasted training. You know, it's one thing to eat a meal before your workout, which is great, and that's totally what I recommend. But as you get more and more advanced in your training, you are going to need that extra boost in order to perform even better. So that's the reason why. And what can happen if you don't, especially as you get more advanced, or if you're going in fasted into your training, which I do not recommend, you risk catabolizing your muscle tissue, meaning your body it breaks down your muscle tissue in order to turn that into glucose to fuel yourself for the workout. So you're kind of just spinning your wheels and like shooting yourself in the foot if you go into training fasted, and the more advanced you get if you're not fueling yourself during your workouts. And that applies to both men and women, but women are especially susceptible to that happening. So I do have a training that is really good on that topic, on like what supplements to take during your training session. So if you want to watch that training, just let me know and I can tag you in it. Okay, so these following steps are only going to apply to those who are in a fat loss phase. So if you're in a maintenance phase, you're reverse dieting, or you're in a bulking phase, you don't need to do these following steps that I'm going to mention. So what you're going to do in a fat loss phase is essentially you're going to cycle on and off your deficit days, deficit meaning a caloric deficit, meaning less calories than you can maintain your body weight. You're going to cycle deficit days with maintenance days. And we'll get into that. But the reason why you want to do this in a fat loss phase is it makes fat loss easier and more sustainable for you, because it basically allows some flexibility. It allows some more adherence to the protocol, because you're getting essentially some breaks from your diet, and you're able to go back to eating a little bit more food and have some more food freedom in terms of the types of foods that you probably aren't eating while you're in a deficit. So what it's also going to do in a fat loss phase, it's going to help boost your metabolism and your biometrics. And this is because it minimizes negative metabolic adaptation. Remember, anytime you do a diet, even if it's perfectly healthy, there's going to be at least a small degree of metabolic adaptation, meaning your metabolism slows down. So this is going to help to minimize it. Again, not prevent it, but minimize it. And calorie cycling in this sense, it's similar to diet breaks. Diet breaks are when, okay, so for example, I have quite a few clients who are in a fat loss phase right now. The ones who are counting calories, I'll typically have them diet for about 3 weeks. And if they like hit a plateau in their fat loss, then we'll change around some numbers. But in general, I will give them a diet break of about 1 week where they just go back to their maintenance calories. So that's what a diet break is. So calorie cycling in this sense, it is similar to diet breaks, but typically it's more regular for better sustainability, and they have shorter break periods. So they're not as long as diet breaks, which are typically at least 1 to 2 weeks. And on the topic of diet breaks, so studies do show that people who do regular diet breaks within a dieting phase, they maintain more muscle mass than those who do straight diets. So if I'm remembering correctly, I think in the study, those who did straight diets versus those who had diet breaks, they basically lost the same amount of fat. Those who did straight diets did lose it, I think, a little bit more quickly, but they lost more muscle mass than those who took diet breaks. So basically that means that they didn't recomp their body as well, meaning losing fat and either sustaining or building muscle mass. So basically that means that if you do diet breaks or these calorie cycling methods, you can end up looking better because you're maintaining and or building some more muscle mass as you're losing that fat. So how do you do calorie cycling in a fat loss phase? Basically, you're going to go to maintenance calories in these time frames. So let me I want to show you guys some examples, but I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Okay, I don't think I can do it that way. Okay, so instead of writing or typing them down, because, oh wait, maybe I can do this. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Sorry guys, it's loading. Okay, so you can see my chat over here. I'm gonna type in here. So the calorie cycling time frame that you're gonna do is, if we were to put it in a ratio, like it would look something like diet calories or diet days versus maintenance days, meaning maintenance calories. So I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but so however many days here is how many days that you stick to your diet calories, and however many days here is how many days that you stick to your maintenance calories. So you have a few options there. Let's see. Okay, so the options that you have, you can do either a 14-5 day split, which means 14 days in your deficit calories and 5 days going back to your maintenance calories. You can do a 12-5 split, which is 12 days dieting, 5 days maintenance, 10-4, 10-3, or 7-2. When it comes to choosing which one you want to do, in general, when it comes to reaching fat loss faster, I would say the longer the period, the better. So that would be the 14-5, 14 days dieting, 5 days back to maintenance. But that is not what is most important. What is most important is what you can sustain. So if you have a really hard time with being consistent in your nutrition, sticking to calories, then you could choose something like 7-2, 7 days dieting, 2 days back to maintenance. And so basically you're breaking your dieting period more frequently. So remember, when it comes to choosing it, choose something that you can sustain. So it's really up to your preference. Okay. And then, so when it comes to choosing the day split, the calorie cycling window, you're also going to want to consider your biometrics, like how's your energy, how's your sleep, how's your appetite, how's your libido, how's your performance. So those all play into that as well. So let me give you some examples. So if you've had a consistent negative change in your biometrics, like sleep, energy, libido, all those things, for at least 2 weeks, then you're going to choose a shorter calorie window from there. Now, when I say that, a negative change in your biometrics, anytime you diet, you should expect at least a degree of a decrease, a negative decrease in your biometrics. But what I'm more so pointing out is like pretty substantial negative changes in your biometrics, like sleep, energy, libido, all those things. So it wouldn't be until that point that you would change your calorie cycle window to something shorter. So let's say in that scenario, you originally chose a 14-5 split, 14 days dieting, 5 days maintenance. And you notice for 2 weeks, your performance really tanks, your sleep is really poor, your energy is crap. Then at that point, you would want to choose a shorter calorie cycling window, like for example, a 10-3 or a 7-2. The other scenario in which you would want to consider changing your calorie cycling window is if you've hit a plateau in your weight loss for at least 3 weeks. So let's say you've been dieting, you're consistent, you've been consistent for 3 weeks, but the scale is not moving. Don't drop your calories just yet. Instead, change your calorie cycling window to something shorter. So let's say you were doing a 14-5, switch to something like a 10-3 or a 7-2. If after that, your weight still doesn't drop, then at that point, you would want to reduce your calories by about 10%. So just for easy math, let's say that your deficit, your caloric deficit was at 2,000 calories. Like you were steadily losing weight at 2,000 calories. Then you got stuck for 3 weeks. You tried the shortening your calorie cycling window. Weight is still not moving. Then at that point, you'd want to reduce your calories by about 10%, which is minus 200 calories. So that means that your new deficit is 1,800 calories. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys an example of like how to set up calorie cycling, like what that would look like for you. So let's say that your maintenance calories, I'm switching up the calories, I know, but just bear with me. Let's say that your maintenance calories, the amount of calories that you can eat and sustain or maintain your current weight. Let's say that is 2,000 calories. Okay, so you want to enter a fat loss phase. Let's say you drop down to 1,600 calories to try to lose weight. And let's say, according to your preferences, you choose to do a 10-3 calorie cycling window. So 10 days dieting, 3 days at maintenance. So what that's going to look like is for 10 days, you're going to eat 1,600 calories. And then once that is done, for 3 days, you're going to jump back to your maintenance calories of 2,000 calories. And that's how you do it. And then you just keep repeating that until either there's a really big negative change in your biometrics, or you stop losing weight at about 3 weeks. 3 weeks of not losing weight is what I mean. Basically a 3-week plateau in your weight loss. And then I want to give you guys a general reminder. I do cover this in some of my other trainings, but I realize not all of you have seen all of my trainings. So I believe that most people should not be dieting for more than 16 weeks at a time. The exception that I think it's okay to diet more than 16 weeks would be morbidly obese people. So people who have a lot of fat to lose. And again, this is all in context of you haven't been dieting most months out of the year. But in the case of obese people, I would say 20 weeks max of dieting. And then because at that point, if you haven't reached your ultimate fat loss goal in 16 or 20 weeks, it's going to be shorter for some people. The more lean you are, the shorter your deficits need to be in terms of length. But in general, so what's going to happen if you haven't reached your ultimate fat loss goal in those 16 or 20 weeks, depending on the scenario, is there's going to be an even greater degree of metabolic adaptation, because the longer that you diet, the more it, in essence, slows down your metabolism, because your body wants to thrive. It doesn't want to waste away. It's basically trying to protect itself. So remember earlier, guys, how I said that you should be periodizing both your training and your nutrition. It's the same with nutrition. You know, let's say you diet for 16 weeks, you haven't reached your ultimate fat loss goal, you're going to need to enter a metabolic repairing phase. Meaning, you know, we're going to take some time to speed up your metabolism again. So that one, it speeds up your metabolism, two, so that your biometrics improve again, like great sleep, great energy, good libido, all of those things. And then once that is pretty solid, then if you want to enter back into a fat loss phase again, you can. But because we did that work on repairing your metabolism, you're going to be able to lose fat much more effectively that second time around versus trying to diet for months and months on end. So keep that in mind. And I do have a training specific on reverse dieting, repairing your metabolism. So if you want that training, just let me know. Send you the video or the guide. Okay, let's see. Cool. Awesome. So that pretty much concludes the training. Do any of you guys have any questions on any of that? Let me double check Facebook. Okay. Okay, awesome. I don't see any questions. If y'all have questions later, just type it in the comments section and I will get to them later. But meanwhile, I will see you guys next week for next week's training on Tuesday. Also, a little quick announcement. So I already announced the winner, the grand prize winner of the coaching scholarship, which was Anna Henry. So congrats, Anna. For those who won the second place scholarship, I chose 5 of you guys to win that. So I sent you guys a text, those 5 people. So if you, just read my text and there's some information there, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys later. Read my text and there's some information there, and then we'll go from there. Meet Facebook. Here we go.